What's up everyone, it's Jonathan. Welcome back to another video, and it's finally time to review Phobia by Breaking Benjamin. This was the band's third studio album and was released on August 8th of 2006. Now, I've been wanting to talk about this album for a long time, and I've listened to this album many times in preparation for this review. Phobia is the album that broke Breaking Benjamin into the mainstream, and it impacted millions of people worldwide. In my honest opinion, Phobia is one of the best rock albums to come out of the mid-2000s, and I would also go as far to say that it's one of the best rock albums in the 21st century so far. Now, this is personally my favorite Breaking Benjamin album, and I know a lot of people will probably say the same, but there's just something special about this album, and I can't wait to talk to you guys about it. Starting with track 1, which I would call the Phobia intro, and this one starts out with some noises that actually comes from an airplane. If you didn't know already, phobia is actually another word to describe fear, and you know, the album artwork actually shows a person or a man with wings and he's flying over like a road. It's pretty much just like where an airplane would fly off, you know, when they take off. And so this actually symbolizes Ben's fear of flying in airplanes. And I think the intro really sheds light on what this whole album is going to be about. It's going to be about Ben's different things that he went through, like different fears, and it's pretty much just going to relate a lot to what, you know, everyday people like me and you go through. We then hear some atmospheric guitar playing with some light drumming that sets the mood for the rest of the album. It's a pretty cool way to start out the album. After the intro, we get The Diary of Jane. What do I even need to say about this track? It's the band's most popular song, and it's what introduced the signature sound that we've come to know Breaking Benjamin for. You know exactly what you're listening to when you hear those opening guitar chords and, you know, the epic intro that gets louder and louder every second. The lyrics are just classic, and Ben's vocals sound fantastic as he talks about someone he loves but they don't love him back, and he's gonna do anything it takes, or whatever it takes, to get on Jane's diary. The chorus is extremely catchy and very memorable, and it's just one of those classic songs from the mid-2000s that have stood the test of time, and it's just as great as it is now than it was almost 12 years ago. And it's one of the best songs to show someone if they're trying to get into Breaking Benjamin. Track 3 is Breath, and this is one of the band's most popular songs to date. It's a fan favorite, and this one actually hit #1 on the mainstream rock charts back in the day, which was 2006, 2007. This is a fan favorite, and I can definitely see why, because I feel like this song really embodies the band's unique sound. Breath has one of the best choruses on the album, and even in the band's whole discography in my opinion. And I love how each chorus sounds very different from the last one. The bass line is really awesome in this track, and I really love how it mixes beautifully with the guitars. The lyrics and vocals really tug at the heartstrings, and this is one of Ben's best vocal performances to date in my opinion. This is a very special song to me, and it's really pretty much a perfect song in my opinion. And it's easily one of my favorite Breaking Benjamin songs of all time. Track 4 is You, and if I had to pick a favorite off of the album as of right now, I think it would be this one or Dance with the Devil. This song just connects with me on different levels, and I think it has to do with how deep the lyrics are. The lyrics have so much depth, and they talk about, you know, going through life and taking it for granted. You can feel the passion in Ben's voice when he sings these lyrics and he's telling this person not to make the same mistakes that he made. I feel like this song can relate to anyone, and Ben's vocals just sell this track. Of course, we can't forget the instrumentation, because that's another reason why I love this song so much. The guitars and bass really play a huge factor in making this song so emotional to listen to. The drums are played extremely well by Chad, and it's the driving force in the chorus. I love everything from the atmospheric verses to the amazing last chorus where Ben sings You in a very high note. I feel like this song is very, very underrated, and just like Breath, this is probably one of my other favorite Breaking Benjamin songs of all time, and you're probably going to hear me say that a lot through this review. It's just a lot of these songs really have connected with me over the years. Next we have Evil Angel, and this is one of the more popular songs on the album. I absolutely love the drumming in the intro, and pretty much the entire song. The drumming is really on point. The drumming then leads into these heavy guitars, which get softer when we reach the first verse. Ben's vocals are just absolutely amazing on this track, and I know I'm going to probably be saying that on every single song. But seriously, the vocals drive this song along with the instrumentation. There's just so much passion and emotion in Ben's voice, and I really love when he hits those high notes in the chorus. This song almost sounds like an anthem, even though the lyrics are actually talking about a metaphoric angel who helps Ben, take away the evil inside of him. The bridge is extremely chaotic as it goes into this realm of distorted guitars and pounding drums, and they all come together for this very big and bold sound. Everything about this song is just extremely memorable, and it just keeps me captivated the whole way through. Track 6 is Until the End, and of course this is another one of the more popular songs on the album, and this one is definitely an anthem. The intro is pretty heavy when it leads into these pounding drums and meaty guitars, but it actually leads into a very soft verse with traces of acoustic guitar. The chorus is very relatable and it's easy to sing along to. The lyrics talk about overcoming obstacles and that we have to keep moving forward no matter how hard life gets. The bridge is really good and I really love the guitar solo they added in there. Next up we have Dance with the Devil, and this was actually one of the first Breaking Benjamin songs I ever heard. The first time I listened to the song, I instantly fell in love with it. From the melodic intro to the awesome guitar work, this song displays all of the qualities that makes Breaking Benjamin such a great band. And of course, Ben's vocals just soar over this track and it really brings the song to new heights. I really love the imagery they use in the lyrics because the phrase "dance with the devil" can be interpreted in many different ways. I've heard some people speculate that this is about Ben's drinking problem because if you didn't know, at the time he was an alcoholic. And actually at this time, this is actually the last album to feature him as an alcoholic. I can definitely see these metaphors in the lyrics, and that makes me even love them so much more. I also love the guitar riffs and the bridge. Of course, this is when Ben's singing hold on," and it's just really great how it all blends together. The guitar solo is awesome as well, along with the high notes that Ben hits in the chorus, and of course throughout the entire song. I don't know what else to say about this track. It's pretty much everything I could ever want in a Breaking Benjamin song, and it's perfection in my eyes. Track 8 is Topless, and this is one of the heaviest tracks on the album. This song is seething with rage, and there's a couple F-bombs in the song as well. It makes it much more interesting. The guitars and bass are the driving force of this song, and it really makes it sound very menacing. Fun fact for you, this song was actually named Top of the World, and then they changed it to Topless when this album was released. Really powerful song overall, and it gets you pumped up every time you listen to it. Next track is Here We Are, and this song slows things down a bit, and this one really tugs at the heartstrings. The song seems to be about a broken relationship that Ben is trying to save, and I think a lot of people can relate to this, because I know I can. In the chorus, he's saying, so here we are fighting and trying to hide the scars. And then in the bridge, it talks about, picking the pieces up, which pretty much Ben's trying to say that he wants this person to help him, put this relationship back together before it ends on a bad note. This is probably one of the softest songs on the album, but I still believe it has a place on this album, and it really blends together with the rest of the songs. The guitar solo in the song kind of reminds me a little bit of classical music and maybe a little jazz as well. I mean, that's kind of a stretch, but it just popped in my mind when I listened to it. And it has a very clean tone, and it really shows off the, the talent of the guitarist. Track 10 is Unknown Soldier, and this one has a very deep storyline to it. Ben wrote this in the point of view of a soldier and the fears that they go through on a daily basis, which is why the song is called Unknown Soldier. The song starts out with a helicopter flying by and then leads into these very melodic guitars and, these very complex drums. The chorus soars with Ben hitting those high notes, and it really shows how passionate he is about this song. The lyrics are very deep and they really add to the chaotic feel of the song, like in the verses where he's talking about, borderline, I don't mind, and then the chorus, he's saying, show me what it's like to dream in black and white so I can leave this world. It's just, very deep stuff, and just, of course Ben's vocals really soar with this track, and it really adds a lot more emotion to it. I wasn't really loving this song when I first listened to it back in the day, but, this song has moved up further and further in my ranking, of this album and, of course, Breaking Benjamin's discography, and I just really love everything about this track. The storyline, the instrumentation, and the vocals are executed brilliantly, making this probably one of the best tracks on the album. Next up, we have Had Enough, and much like Topless, this song is very angry. The guitar work and bass work sounds really catchy on this track. It's really the driving force, just like Topless was, and Ben's vocals sound much more pissed off on this one. Even though Ben sounds very much more pissed off and angry, he still stays extremely melodic throughout the entire song. The song lyrics pretty much are talking about someone that is not a good person at all. They think they're good, but they manipulate people, and Ben's pretty much just telling them off. You know, pretty much he's saying to get lost, because in the chorus he says, "You greedy little bastards, you will get what you deserve." And it's pretty much just someone that just wants all this stuff in the world, but it's just not gonna, you know, give them any happiness, any joy. And, you know, it's just Ben's telling them off, and it's just a really great message in this track, just to get away from those poisonous people that are just gonna inflict more pain on your life. I really love the screams at the end of the song, because you can really feel what Ben feels, because when he screams, "Heaven help you," this is when he's like really angry at this person. The last track with lyrics on this album is called "You Fight Me," and I really feel like this one is extremely underrated, because not a lot of people talk about this one. I forgot to mention in Dance with the Devil that song actually has some piano playing in the end, and this song, "You Fight Me," starts with industrial drumming, a smooth bass line, and piano, which adds a lot of diversity to the track. The electric guitars kick in after Ben sings a couple of lines in the verses, and they sound really good. I feel like this song is another one talking about a messed up relationship, and Ben is talking about, you know, not wanting to fight this person anymore. The line that always gets me in this track is the one that says, "Can we live a life of peace and happiness?" And then he says, "I don't think so." And just Ben's vocals in this one just sound very angelic. The chorus explodes when all the instruments are coming together and Ben's vocals are just soaring. This is another emotional and powerful song that really shows the melodic and slower side of Breaking Benjamin in full form. Now we've reached the last track on the album, which is, I would call, the Phobia outro, and it's like a continuation of the intro but goes into a very different territory. Guitars and bass and drums really come together to make a very nice sound, and there's some lead guitar in this part as well. I feel like this outro really represents the different fears that we face in life. As we know, Ben has a fear of flying in airplanes, and of course, we all know our own fears, and I feel like this whole album really shows us how we can overcome these fears. Overall, it's a really interesting and unique way to close out this amazing album. This album is extremely special to me and millions of other people worldwide. This is just one of those special albums that I can come back to and listen to from front to back and always find something new and refreshing to love about it. Everything I love about Breaking Benjamin is showcased in this album, and of course, you know, some of their best songs are on here as well. Like I said before, this is the album that introduces us to Breaking Benjamin's core sound, and they've stuck with it to this day. I feel like this is where Ben started really writing personal lyrics, and they took a more serious tone on this album and the albums to come. The first two albums were more happy and fun sounding, while Phobia has a more dark and serious sound. And of course we know this dark and serious sound would continue on Dear Agony and Dark Before Dawn. I could ramble on and on about how great this album is, but the video would be too long, so I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm obviously gonna have to give this one a 5 out of 5. It's a perfect album in my opinion, and it's my personal favorite Breaking Benjamin album. This is also one of my favorite albums of all time, and it's a classic in my book. Of course, I would recommend this album to any rock or metal fan, and of course any Breaking Benjamin fan. I mean, if you're a Breaking Benjamin fan, I don't know how you haven't listened to this album, but for some reason, if you haven't listened to it, please give it a listen. It's definitely worth your time. And guys, thanks for watching this review. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment your thoughts on this album down below. Or if you want to comment on how I did on this review, please comment in the comments down below. My Dear Agony review should be out soon, and I also should be reviewing the new 3 Days Grace album when it comes out. And, you know, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.